culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, good morning, good morning, sunshines. How are y'all doing? I'm finally back, but y'all, the vacation, the Beyonce concert especially, all drained me so bad. I've been sleeping for like 2 days straight. So yesterday, my friend, she left to go back to Canada. So I accompanied her towards the airport. And then as soon as I came back, all I did was sleep until I got up at like midnight to order some food, sleep again. And then today I was struggling to get up as well. It has been quite the time. Listen, first and foremost, I do have to apologize to you guys. I feel so bad that we were not able to make our collaboration in person here happen. The day that we were supposed to, it was the last Friday that we were supposed to shoot our morning report together here in my apartment. We went to the Arab perfume shop that I've been telling you guys about. And it was only supposed to take like a little while, but it took like all day. Then that night I wanted to introduce her to, some of my new friends here in Paris and, have her hang out again with some of my old friends that she's already met over the past few years. So it was a lot that we had going on. She only had like 4 days in Paris. So we really had to like jam pack it, make the most of it. So sorry about that, but hopefully we'll be able to do a virtual one eventually. Thank y'all so much for joining, by the way. We've got Gala, Shannon, Jess, Ronnie, Michelle, Venetia, Jenny, Allie, Steph. What's this about Chicago being 83 degrees? Oh, you know what? The good thing you guys have at least is AC. So thank God for that. Good morning, Steph, Lily, Sarah, Umu, Acacia. I love your new photo, Acacia. I saw it on TikTok too. So pretty. Good morning, Kaylin, Monica, Steph, Lynette, Rosa, Gail, Cecilia, Lily. So nice to have y'all here. And those of you watching in the bushes, good morning to you too. It is so nice to have y'all here. Oh my God. By the way, you guys, one thing about like going on vacay is that your color changes so much that your foundation no longer works, right? So now I am foundation free. In fact, I don't even think I really have anything on. I had blush on earlier, but I think maybe I sweated it out. So there you go. But you know what? That's something I love because I feel like it kind of makes your skin a little bit more uniform and whatnot. So I'm quite happy about that as well. And hey, Ruby, nice to see you. You're back from Mexico. Wow. How was it? And I can imagine, especially with that Mexican heat, that beautiful sun, if you were hanging out by the beaches and whatnot, there's just something so relaxing about it all. We've got a lot to talk about, you guys. In today's morning report, some of the stories were things that I wanted to talk about with my friend here on Friday. So, we're kind of going to be doing a throwback to some news that hit the news cycle just a couple of days ago as well. For example, the Justin Bieber, Hailey Baldwin situation, whether or not they're about to get divorced. We also had to talk about Farah and Sophia Abraham on Kale Lowry's Barely Famous podcast, and Wendy Williams' ex-husband, Kelvin Hunter, suing her guardian, trying to get some money out of her. Do I talk about that on Thursday? Because I did do a morning report on Thursday. And for some reason, as I'm speaking out loud, that story in particular sounds familiar. And then we're going to finish off with a Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. And then, afterward, I get into the podcast episode, Coffee Compost, separate video where Kale talks about Javi and his claims about her and her motherhood and whatnot as well. Okay. By the way, shout out to you, Jaleesa. I imagine that Jaleesa is on her way back to the US. She was here in Paris for Beyonce's Parisian show. Okay, real quickly, you guys, I have to say, I was kind of like low-key pissed as a Beyonce fan who went for this Saturday show. So for this Thursday show, they had Miley Cyrus. For the Sunday show, they had Jay-Z. For the Saturday show, and we specifically got the Saturday tickets because we're like, dude, this is the best day of the week. Like, you're not rushing, back home to get changed and this and that, then going back down out to the burbs and whatnot, then trying to, gather up the force to go to work the next day. So we didn't want to do Thursday. And then Sunday, it's like, no, because then you got to get back into the work week. We don't want to do that either. Let's do Saturday. That's going to be the best show. But finally, no, there was no soup for us Saturday fans. Like we had B, and that's like the best thing of all, right? And we had Rumi and we had Blue. And you guys, when Blue was performing, I felt so emotional because the amount of hatred and vitriol and just ugliness that grown folks had been slinging her way pretty much since she was like a baby, a toddler, was just horrific. And then just seeing her blossom into such a confident, talented, beautiful young girl commanding the stage like that, I felt proud, like I truly felt proud of her, and it was so beautiful. And Rumi was adorable. Someone from the FBI, I guess, found out that she has a thing for Stitch, of Lilo and Stitch, and brought like this teddy bear of it. And then they managed to give it to her. She was so excited about it, which was cute watching that live. Keisha says, hope you had a great vacation. Loved your cowboy. Thank you. Listen, y'all know how hard I was working since like the winter to get into that outfit. I said, listen, I'm not looking too much for a summer, but I'm mainly looking for a Cowboy Carter body, y'all. Like I went with the two-piece. It was so fun. I had the greatest time. Who got engaged? Lily, I didn't see your news about getting engaged. Congrats to you. That is amazing. And Nikki, how's your vacation been? I'm glad that you've been on a vacation too. Listen, let's get this party started, y'all. We don't have to wait until August. And I'm hearing from Gail that it's really hot where she's at as well. 105. Lord, you guys' temperature sounds so high. And by the way, thank you guys all so much for sending the love to Lily, because I didn't even see Lily's comment initially announcing the good news that she got engaged. Congratulations, Lily. That is absolutely amazing. Can you share your proposal story with us? We want to know everything. What are you thinking for the wedding and everything like that? This is so cool and so exciting. Congratulations to you, boo. This is so, wow. Is this our first engagement announcement on the show? I love it. Good morning, Caroline. Hope you're doing well. And good morning, Ramster. Thank you so much, Ramster. I had the time of my life. Listen, Beyonce was worth every penny, and the amount of people we met was just incredible too. Like we had the best time. We really, really did. Now, you guys, why don't we get into the Wendy Williams of it all? Her dusty, no good, trifling, lying, cheating, stealing, dirty D ex-husband, Calvin Hunter, is suing her conservatorship in order to get her money. He wants $250 million to be exact, $250 million. He destroyed this woman's life, her sanity, her mental health. He risked her physical and sexual health. And he still feels like he's entitled to such a large sum of money. And it is absolutely insane. I do believe we went over this in Thursday's show. So I just want to tell you guys about what Wendy Williams' response to this trifling lawsuit is. And we all know that Wendy Williams is trying to get out of this conservatorship, right? She agrees with all of the points and whatnot. We all do, that she's being held captive, and she's perfectly fine. But she's not happy that this dusty man is trying to get all this money off her back yet again. Okay. And so in an interview, she said that she thinks it's good to know that Kevin is out here doing such evil things again. And her attorney also said that Kevin's got no standing here, and Wendy doesn't need any help from her ex-husband or his legal team. Like, good, right? Wendy Williams is the brains. Wendy Williams has the money. She's going to be able to get herself out of this conservatorship without this dusty man. That's all I can call him, dusty. Oh God, I can't stand people like this. Like, you would think that people have a certain level of shame. Like, hey, I already got millions out of this person. Like, I never really cared for this person. I was just using them. Like, they're suffering. Their life is hard enough. Let me kind of just quit while I'm ahead here. But no, people like him, these little demons, have no shame, and they really feel entitled to everything. They would delete you and take everything you have, rob the jewelry off of your cold body, right? And everything you left to your children, because they really feel as though everything in the world is owed to them. And it's disgusting. Honestly, I know that Wendy rused the day she met this useless, cold-hearted, quote-unquote man. Steph says, do you like Coco? I love her and her songs. She's such a good singer. I went to her concert this past Saturday. She's so talented and could really sing with no background music or anything. Well, congrats, Steph. I'm so glad you got to see her in concert. I too think she's really, really talented. She's so beautiful. And I really loved her tribute that she did for Usher at the BET Awards as well. She's really, really talented. And I think, you know what? Give her a little bit more time. And I think that more people are going to be able to catch on to her music, and she's going to, really skyrocket, because we need a new crop of R&B singers right about now, right? Good morning, B Chocolate. Nice to see you. And I completely agree, Betty LaBelle. Calvin Hunter needs to get a job at this point and leave Wendy alone. She has suffered enough. And exactly, his mistress left him because he was broke. Maybe he's hoping that getting this money again will have her coming back, right, with their daughter and everything. But too bad, so sad. I'm so glad that he received his karma. Hey, he lost his homes. He's constantly being sued left and right for not keeping up with his bills. He can't pay for his healthcare costs. And he got his cars repoed, and the cars that he was buying or leasing or whatever for the mistress got repoed as well, as they should. Listen, that's the thing, right? Karma always comes around. You think you're living good now off of somebody else's pain and suffering, but little do you know that boomerang is going to come right back at you one way or another, and you will pay for everything you did tenfold. And that is exactly where Kevin's at, and that is exactly where his mistress is at too, because he used Wendy's money to launch that girl a vegan restaurant or whatever it is, and guess what? Flop. That thing had to be closed too. Too bad. So sad. Now, why don't we get into Hailey, Bieber, and Justin Bieber? Or should we soon say Hailey Baldwin, because she might be returning to her maiden name, as it appears as though she might be dropping Justin Bieber finally. We have all seen it over pretty much the entirety of their relationship, the extreme level of disrespect that this man has shown her time and time and time again. Like his post for Mother's Day saying that Mother's Day sucks, ASS. And then his other post about when she got her Vogue cover, he went on there to neg her publicly. Like, oh, whenever we'd argue, I always told her that she'd never get a Vogue cover. Now, why would you tell that to us? Like, that's so rude. Like, why can't you just say, congratulations, I'm proud of you, I love you, or something like that? Like, why does he always have to kick this woman, right? And just try to destroy her and make a mockery of her. And we've all seen him spiraling, especially lately with his whole what's not clocking, I'm a husband, I'm a dad, all this other stuff. And Hailey seems to be exhausted at this point. She now has a baby to raise. So I think at this point, she's tired of raising her husband too. And I see that this is something that happens with a lot of ladies. Like, they can stick it out with certain men that they know are not great for them, right? And then they get pregnant. They're hoping the man will change. And then seeing an actual baby and realizing, holy cow, the personality, the maturity of my husband is on par with this 5-pound baby. I'm out. And I think that that's what happened with Hailey. She said, absolutely freaking not. I've got my little Jack Blues to take care of. And now she just sold her company for like $1 billion. Obviously, she did not pocket $1 billion, but that is an incredible feat that has made her incredibly, incredibly rich. And so I think that with that in her pocket now, she needs Justin Bieber even less than ever, because she has legitimized herself. She's made herself enough money for generations to come. And so she doesn't have to put up with him anymore. And you know what? I think that if she were to leave him and to find a better relationship down the line, she doesn't have to worry about that now. She would be able to propel herself even further. Listen, Hailey Baldwin is a very, very beautiful girl. She's a very dedicated girl. And now she's a very successful business woman as well, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her with somebody like really, really legitimate in the future. I'm sorry, but Justin Bieber, can I say this? Are y'all believers? I know I had a believer in here. Where's my believer girl? She was sending me these videos and stuff from when Hailey was stalking Justin. I think her name is her name Ashley or Madison? Hang on, you guys. I'm trying to take this picture down. My screen is frozen. But basically, I think that, and this is shocking to me to say, because like I'm around Justin Bieber's age. So like I remember how huge he was and how Twitter had to like impose a ban on his name from trending, because if they didn't, then his name would be like the #1 trending topic all day, every day for like ever. Like he was huge, right? But I kind of see him as a has-been now. Is it okay? Should I hide? Are y'all gonna hit me? Can I say it? Like, I kind of see him as a has-been now, especially with like, the way that he's been acting and everything. Like, it's just not attractive. I think he's turned off a lot of his fan base. And I think that he is kind of dragging her down at this point. And so I do think that Hailey can leave him and level up. I could see her with a prince. I could see her with a sheik. I can see her with somebody from like a Rothschild level family or something like that. Just saying. Kelly, we're talking about Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber. Almost Hailey Baldwin soon, because she was walking around, and that's the photo that I put up for you. Let me go back and put it up again. But she was walking around showing off her ringless finger. She has never, ever, ever, ever had a ringless finger since locking down the Biebs. She worked her whole life to lock that man down. So for her to be walking around like, oh my God, what time is it? I gotta check my watch type thing to really show off how empty this hand is. She wants you to know she's fed up. And Justin Bieber has been like kind of hinting at her, giving him the silent treatment and whatnot. So there's quite a lot going on behind the scenes. Watch this space, you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least a separation announcement in the future. I'm not saying they're full-blown divorcing, but there could be a separation announcement. And listen, that's the best thing, Hailey. Do I like Hailey? No, not necessarily. However, I hate to see a woman be publicly humiliated by her man time and time again, even if it is her king. A la Hailey Baldwin, a la Khloe Kardashian. Mariah says, I've been a believer since I was 9. He's a Pisces man. He's always treated women horribly. Now that I'm grown, I understand he's the problem. Exactly. And it's so sad how women are always painted as the problem in these things, right? Selena Gomez was painted as this problem, especially when she got her bipolar diagnosis. It's, oh, well, they didn't work because she's bipolar. She's crazy, all sorts of things. And now look, you guys. Ronnie says he's treating her really, really weirdly, but she wanted this. And I just want to say maybe some of her previous actions made him this way towards her. Honestly, that would suck because he's been at this for so long. You know what their relationship reminds me of? Britney and Jax Taylor. Jax has always made it very clear he doesn't really like Britney. He practically hates the girl. He finds her annoying. I still remember like when they first started dating and he got arrested for stealing those sunglasses and then he had to go to like Mexican jail. He said, you know what? Mexican jail was better than living with Britney. Like he was saying things like that throughout their entire relationship, yet they lasted 10 years. On his side, it's like, where's your self-esteem to cut off a relationship that doesn't serve you, that makes you this miserable? And on her end, where's your self-esteem to cut off a relationship where your man is talking about you like this? Are you kidding me? Right? Nikki says he fumbled her bad, real bad. And now she's got the big bucks. Apparently she used some of her money to bail out, some of his debts. Remember, Justin Bieber allegedly, according to TMZ, owes Scooter Braun millions upon millions of dollars, right? And so TMZ was reporting that debt is about to be settled very soon because of Hailey's big payout. So AKA, she's the sugar mama now. Then listen, whatever. It's part of the deal. She would not have been able to build $1 billion brand without Justin Bieber. Let's be serious, okay? Or let's be honest. And so I think that part of it is like, okay, well, thanks for helping me level up. And of course, with them being married, his debt is her debt. So let's go ahead and pay this off, right? Steph says some women ignore the fact that there are a lot of unhealed men out here and end up. Yes. Unfortunately, there are so many unhealed men out here looking for relationships or marriages or whatever. And so you have to be really, really discerning about who you share your energy with, because some people are energy vampires, truly. And listen, I always say, you know who I think are the biggest energy vampires? Older men who seek out younger women. They end up looking younger and like feeling better and this and that. Meanwhile, the ladies who get with these like old men, and I'm not talking a little age gap. I'm talking like generations. I'm talking decades, plural. Those are the ones, that you got to really, really watch out for. Kaylin, are you being sarcastic? She says, I love their love story. Stalked until locked. You have got to be being sarcastic, and I love it. Petty says, tale as old as time, right? Oh my God. here's the thing. You got to be careful what you wish for. You can't overly idealize people, because you really never know what they're actually like. It's never like the fantasy that you have in your mind, unfortunately. Nikki says, no, girl, he is a has-been. Thank you. Okay, there you go. He is a has-been, and he was very big at his prime, but he hasn't really done much of anything in a long time, except, get in the press for really bad reasons. Girl Tay says, ew, she's so weird. Can she take her coin and go away? Damn! Please, justice for stalkers. God forbid a girl have hobbies. Betty says he stressed her all the way out. I really do think so. And I feel like she's going to glow up when she finally leaves him. For me, it's not a question of if, but when. There was a moment where people didn't think that Brittany would ever fully leave Jax after all that he already did to her and whatnot. But, she finally woke up and said, you know what? I'm not doing it. And sometimes it takes a kid, right? Brittany put up with that nonsense for a decade. Hailey has been putting up with that nonsense for nearly a decade, if not more, right? And now all of a sudden, kid, boom, that changes everything. It gives you a whole new perspective on life. So kudos to these ladies and any lady who decides to choose herself and walk away from a toxic relationship or marriage. By the way, you guys, if you're enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows that you enjoy my content. So there was something that came out that we were kind of hinting at in Thursday's episode of The Morning Report. It was the Killer Network hinting about their next guest for Barely Famous, right? And it was very obvious that they were referring to none other than Farah Abraham and her daughter, Sophia Abraham. And well, that episode has officially dropped. And I gotta say, it was a pretty good episode. Y'all know that I think that Farah is nuttier than squirrel shit. Okay? She's nutty as hell, right? However, it really feels as though she did a certain level of work on herself. It seems as though she's in a better place. It seems as though she's content. It seems as though her daughter too is happy. I've always worried about this kid, right? Like all of the adult things that she's been exposed to over her entire life and the creepy conversations her mother has had with her. I will never forget on that podcast they were doing how Farah was like trying to pressure her into talking about like her body hair and whatnot for her fans, like very, very creepy stuff like that. But Sophia does seem happy and okay and content with her life and proud of her mom and supportive of her mom and whatnot. So, I can't really say much there. And I liked how Farah was talking about, listen, I let my daughter explore the way that she wants to present herself, right? She's all into this gothic aesthetic, which isn't my thing at all. However, she's her own person. And if that is the look that she wants to have, and that's what makes her happy, then that is what she's going to do. She wanted to go to Germany for her birthday. She wanted to do something like with like the churches or whatever, the cathedrals. Hell yeah, let's load up our flight tickets, our frequent flyer miles, and let's head over there. She's very much against pushing her own beliefs and desires on her daughter, and just following what it is that her daughter wants. And I think that is a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous philosophy. And so I definitely do applaud her for that. I do think that that is absolutely beautiful. And then the conversation, of course, turned to her time in the adult industry. And I really didn't appreciate them having these sorts of conversations in front of Sophia. I know that Sophia knows that her mother does this corn stuff, right? However, I still don't think it's that appropriate to be having these kinds of conversations in front of the child. We already had witnessed this happening in a different podcast. That was the Bunny podcast, where Bunny even inappropriately asked Farah if she would allow for her daughter to do it or something like that. And her daughter was right there. Very, very weird to be speaking that way. And so this time was no different as well. I really wish that they would keep that stuff away from her. She is still a minor, and it's, in my opinion, wholly inappropriate. But listen, maybe you guys feel differently. How would you feel if you were in the adult industry, you had a child, you were bringing that child around for interviews, and they wanted to talk to you about this sort of thing? Because on the one hand, I'm like, well, why are you bringing this child into the interviews? You know that this is the primary thing that you're known for these days, or that people talk about you for these days, because it's been ages since you've been on the Teen Mom shows. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, is Farah using Sophia as a shield to avoid talking about that because she's assuming that people would realize it's inappropriate to bring that up in front of a child? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I kind of think that it's kind of 50-50. Farah said that she's not ashamed of anything she's done and that she's happy to talk about it in front of her daughter. So there's that. But I don't know. Listen, personally, if I were into this stuff, I would be just using the daughter as a shield, saying, nope, we're not going to talk about this. My child is here, right? And putting that in the rider or whatever. Oh God, that pun is not intended. So that, it's not brought up at all during my interviews. Just saying. Okay, so let me see what some of y'all are saying over here. La 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 la. Lucky says, men never want to cut off the relationship because they're afraid of being seen as the bad guy, period. And you know what else, Lucky? They're also being given free access to sex and whatever else it is that these ladies are giving to them. Just saying, listen, and they're saving money. If they're living with you or you're living with them and you're paying 50-50, they're saving money. And you're probably doing the majority of the cleaning and stuff too. So they're going to write it out, maybe find somebody behind your back, and then that's when they'll bounce. But, they're not going to make themselves uncomfortable. Vacation says, we're sure it's not an effect of her. Maybe that's it. The witchcraft has worn out. The spell is over. Didn't she say that she had her, and I think it was this joke, but she was saying something about like her dad going up to the mountains, getting a love spell for her or whatever. And T, you know what he'll probably do when he goes bald? He'll probably get those transfers. A lot of these celebrity men, they have gone bald and they've gotten these like hair plugs and whatnot, but nobody ever talks about that because we look so closely at what the ladies are doing that we ignore the men and their veneers, their nose jobs, their lipo, right? Everything, their hair, everything. Hey, Francine, it's so good to have you back, Grace. Hope you had a great holiday, but really missed you. Thankful for you, Francine, Perth, Western Australia. Well, thank you, Francine. I missed you guys too so much. I'm so happy to be back in the swing of things. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was telling people that this vacation wore me out like none other than, of course, there was a concert. We had floor seats, so we were standing. And then we got there hours early, too. So it has been just, wow, quite the whirlwind. But I'm so glad to be back. And I do not intend to leave, especially not for that long, anytime soon. Lily says, oh, so this is about Lily's engagement. So for those of you who are just joining us, Lily, our beautiful, sweet Lily, and it's such a beautiful name, by the way, got engaged. And so she's sharing with us the details. So come closer. Let's see what happened. He proposed during a weekend getaway in northern Michigan on an island, thinking of a wedding in Mexico. Love that for you. This is so sweet, Lily. Congratulations. This is so beautiful. You gotta love you guys. And a destination wedding in Mexico. Yes, please. That sounds so fun. Please keep us posted when you get married and everything. Is this something that you want to do next year, the year after that? Like, we're so nosy, but listen, it's just so exciting to know this stuff. Ronnie says, don't forget to like the video, everyone. Show Grace some love. Yes, please. And thank you, Kaylin, for that as well. If you guys are enjoying today's episode of the Morning Report, please do not hesitate to go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. It's a very simple, quick, and easy way to support the channel. Gail says, we all missed you on here, Grace. I'm happy you had a wonderful vacation. Thank you. I missed you guys so much. I really, I love vacations and everything, but like, it's just so hard being away for so long. I'm always like, okay, let me come back. Jess says, Farah is almost unrecognizable from her teen mom days. A lot of work done. And that's the thing, and we talk about this all the time that we talk about Farah, but there really was this moment, because listen, I'm not against plastic surgery, y'all. There was this moment where she just looked absolutely picture perfect. But the problem is, especially when you're getting this much work done, is that you have a certain level of body dysmorphia to where you don't see it. Like some people, do you ever get that? And this is what I talk about when I'm talking about recapping the valley too. Some people are just so attractive to you, but to themselves, they don't feel that way. Y'all know I'm in love with Jason on the Valley. To me, he is a 10 out of 10 in every conceivable way, right? But he talks a lot on the show about like having low self-esteem and this and that. And I'm like, how is it possible, right? And so many beautiful people are this way, unfortunately. Acacia says, surprisingly, it was a good interview. Yeah, it really was. Sophia did mention she still has a relationship with her father's family. And thank you for bringing that up because that is true. Sophia says that they have a good relationship. They talked about her going to the grave and everything. So I love that Farah has kept Derek's memory alive for Sophia, and that she has maintained the connection between Sophia and Derek's family as well, because on the show it was portrayed as if it was something that like wasn't really going on, and that Sophia was being a little bit estranged, and that she kind of popped up on the family just to get some social security for for Sophia and bounced and didn't really care about maintaining that relationship. But listen, not everything you see on reality television accurately represents reality. So it's nice to see that that was not the case. Acacia says, Farah did say she had to have these combos with Sophia because kids is, oh, did she say that on the podcast? I didn't hear that part. I feel so bad. And you know what? Sophia is now homeschooled. So I imagine that this is a part of the reason why. You know, you do have to think long and hard about the things that you do, especially publicly, when you have children, because your children are innocent. And unfortunately, they could be collateral damage in some of your life choices. And so be very, very, very careful. I really feel for Sophia that that was even happening. AG says, wasn't Farah the first multimillionaire teen mom? Yep, because of that corn tape she made. Do you think she still has all that money? She absolutely was. But as far as your question, if she still has all that money, good question. She spends like crazy. Wait a minute. She spends like crazy. She's got these luxury cars and stuff. However, in the podcast episode, she claimed that that boyfriend that she recently dumped bought her a house. And so I do think that she has also claimed that other boyfriends have bought her cars, like luxury cars and this, that, and the other. So maybe she's not spending as much money as she would have us believe. Maybe it's men paying for her lifestyle in certain capacities. I don't know. She very well could be lying, though, because she was claiming she had all these degrees. She was working on this law degree, but like none of that is true. It's all lies. None of it is true, right? So I don't know. Listen, she kind of does still live in her own little world. So I really don't know what is true or not. And we haven't seen her posting about a house. The last time I was looking into Farah's living situation, she was living in like a 1-bedroom apartment or maybe 2-bedroom apartment. So, you know, if somebody got you a house, wouldn't you be showing it off? Wouldn't you be living in it or something like that? Just saying. Killen says, Justin, I remember him on the Ellen show just throwing stuff everywhere. You know, and it's so sad. But you know what? These child stars, like they are going through a lot behind the scenes. And I think a lot of them have been victimized behind the scenes. And that's why they are having these emotional and mental issues in adulthood. I was just on TikTok and I saw those videos of Amanda Bynes. And that's another child star that I truly, truly loved growing up. Like, what a girl wants, what a girl needs. Like, I loved her in Amanda Please, the Amanda Show and everything. Guys, I think I used to write her fan mail. Like, I really loved her, right? And so seeing her most recent video and just how dead behind the eyes she is and just how obviously unwell she is, it breaks my heart, you know? And obviously it's through no fault of her own. It's just she went through a lot behind the scenes. I believe she was victimized. And, you know, that can really just break you for life, right? And so I do unfortunately think that that's what's happened to a lot of our beloved child stars. And so it does make me sad for them too. Francine says, did you see Farah's interview on page 6? A lot of the time she doesn't even make sense. No, I haven't seen that yet. I'm going to have to go ahead and give it a look. Before this Kale interview, the last one I saw her in was the TMZ one, and she was still talking about the show. She was claiming that the show producers or whatever couldn't afford her or whatever, which I found to be strange because, girl, you said you're so past the show. Stop talking about it. Move on. Right? Good morning, Chocolate Drop. Hope you are doing well. Nice to see you. Just says, I'm glad that Sophia has a good relationship with her father's family. Didn't Deb try to discourage them for reaching out? Yeah, Deborah was weird. Like she wouldn't even let Farah ask questions about birth, about her body, what was going on there during the pregnancy. Very, very weird person with her own unhealed, unchecked, or undiagnosed issues. It's very obvious that, you know, she's not okay, but, you know, maybe she doesn't want to take any steps to rectify that. Acacia says, it was specifically boys bringing up, oh God, that is so sad. Honestly, it's also really sad that those children even know that, right? Because Sophia was taken out of homeschool, taken out of regular school, like at a very young age, which would mean that these kids would have been like way too young to know anything about this world, right? Let alone bullying somebody else about what their mother does in this world. It's like, why are children being exposed to this stuff, right? It's similar to my question of why are they having these conversations in front of a minor? Like people are just so weird these days when it comes to kids and boundaries that they have with children. It's weird. Hello, my fellow Scorpio. Exactly what I've always said, period. Good morning, Nicole. Nice to see you. Hang on, let me zoom in. Is this your dog? Because it looks like a teddy bear. Is this a dog or is this a teddy bear? Oh, it's one of those dogs with all of those like folds and what are these dogs called? That is so cute. Your dog is so cute. What is this breed called? And what is your dog's name? If it's not too much information to ask, y'all know, listen, I get so easily distracted by pets. So cute. Ronnie says, yeah, because she was an empty nester. She said yes, she's been saying all these weird things. Remember, she's been an empty nester. Her daughter's been doing her own thing since she was like 3. Total weirdo. Kaylin says, Amanda, please. Wasn't it so good, that show? Everything about it was so good. I'm happy to see that you guys were Amanda's show fans as well. So your dog is a Dog de Bordeaux. Oh, really? This is a French breed. I had no idea. So cute. Oh, I love a good dog. Oh, so good boy. So you guys, yes, is it like this? His name is Samson. This is the dog I was thinking of, Nicole. I thought you had a Shar-Pei, but a Dog de Bordeaux. This is a breed I've never heard of. I'm going to be going online to look up a little bit more information about this. So cool. You know, my sister, when she was pregnant, she wanted to name her son this initially, Samson. So that's kind of fun to see. Now, you guys, why don't we get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta recap, shall we? So last night, I'm behind on RHOA. I'm 2 episodes behind, but I decided to go ahead and watch last night's episode anyway, because I wanted to discuss it with you guys today. And there was quite a bit that happened. I need to go back and watch the other 2 to understand a little bit more about what led us to this awful, look at the reactions in this photo, but this awful showdown between Kelly and Britt, to where we're slinging allegations about pill popping, abortions, being barren. Like, that was such a vicious fight. Like, I was shocked. I really was. I hate when things get to that level. You know what it reminded me of? The Shaws of Sunset, when Reza was slinging that stuff against MJ. He was like, oh, this is why you couldn't get pregnant anymore. You had like 50 abort. Like, it was bad, y'all. So to see these girls, especially with the way that Kelly was always supporting Brittany, riding for Brittany, she was organizing parties for Brittany. She was doing everything, bringing flowers, vitamin drips. She was doing everything for that girl. And so, you know, to see her be taken for granted like that really was devastating to me. I really like her. She's too loud for me, I got to be honest, right? But overall, I think she's a good person, and I really do like Kelly. So I was sad about that. But before we get there, let's back it all up to the top of the episode. Shamia. You guys know how I feel about Shamia and her marriage. I don't think she's happy. I think she's got too much stress on her shoulders about having a son. You know, she has gone through so much trauma with trying to conceive and surrogates and this and that she doesn't really want to keep going down this route. It's a lot. However, she is forcing herself to continue because her husband is insisting on having a son. So I guess he's not happy with his 2 daughters. He has to have a son for one reason or another. And that makes me sad for her. She doesn't say, oh, like, I'm going to go through this again because I want to have a son. It's always, I want to give my husband a son. And I don't like to hear that. I really don't. So they had that surrogate that we saw on the show already. They're not using the one that they used for Shia because that surrogate, she, you know, fell ill. She got breast cancer, all sorts of things. So she's just no longer a viable candidate. But she does own a surrogacy agency, and she had another surrogate that she recommended to Shamia's family. And unfortunately, the initial transfer with that woman failed. And so for now, Shamia and her husband, her family, they're going to take a break from this. You know, sometimes I feel like you got to just appreciate what you have and leave well enough alone. That's what I feel about that. I don't know if it's a harsh perspective, but that's just what I feel like. Like, there are people who would kill to even have 1 child, let alone 2, you know, like, maybe it might be time to kind of just leave well enough alone at this point, instead of continuing to re-traumatize your wife because you want like a specific gender of child. Like, this is not like going to the mall or going to the movies saying you want salty popcorn instead of sugary popcorn. I don't like how flippant he's being about her trauma, her pain, and just how difficult all of this is for her. And then on her side, here's the thing, you know, when you 100% rely on somebody the way she does on her husband, sometimes you feel like you have to go along with things that you don't necessarily want because you're scared, right, of losing your lifestyle and whatnot. So I think that the show perfectly illustrates the dangers of being in these kinds of positions as well. Good morning, Amelia Bedelia. Thank you. How are you doing? I hope you had a great weekend. Nicole says that they are absolutely the best, her breed of dog. And, you know, I don't know if it's a boy, Samson. He looks just so gentle and sweet too. Gail says, me and my daughter Jenna, we love the Amanda Show too. She really was. Her comedic timing was everything. I loved her movies. She's the man and everything. Like, she really was that girl. And so I hate that somebody robbed her of her happiness, her future, and her mental health. Like, it brings tears to your eyes to see, where she is now. And, all we can do is just hope the best for the best for her. Hey, Kahara, nice to see you. Good morning, sunshine. And no worries at all. We're about to get into our we just got vaguely into our Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. Hey, Tessie in the trees. Nice to see you, boo. Thanks so much. I had the best vacation ever. I'm going to keep uploading photos and videos for you guys. Like, I have so much. And I'm really excited to share them with you, right? Thanks for playing Hearts Footsies. What is that? Gail says, that's so sad and stupid of her husband. They might not ever get a son. They might end up having a third. Exactly. Right. How much longer does Shamia need to suffer for this elusive son? Like, I don't like it. I really don't care for men like this, to be honest with you guys. Now, Phaedra's son, Mr. President, is now a clothing designer. And I thought it was really cool that she's the one who helped spark his passion. There was like this piece of clothing he wanted. And so it didn't really happen he couldn't find it in his size. So she got him a sewing machine, said, here, make it in your size. I have to be honest with you guys. I was quite surprised that Phaedra was okay with her son being a fashion designer, because I always saw her as super old school, right? So to me, I saw her as somebody who wouldn't be happy with the son going into that line of work, especially with her background in education and her speaking upon them, titles like Mr. President. What was the other one's name, or the Prince and stuff like that? Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a fashion designer, but that's just the perspective that she always gave me, or the impression. So I was really, really pleasantly surprised to see her encourage, a more artistic passion in him. And so, congratulations to their family. It was really sweet to see all of that. She's going to be holding a showcase for like a lot of like luxury brands, and she wants for her son to show off his, his own pieces at the end as well, which was really, really cool. And then speaking of Kelly, she's been going through a divorce for like 3 years, you guys. Like, it actually makes you scared to even ever get married. Like, how the heck can a person keep you hostage for so long, and then they keep getting arrested and going to jail because of the way they're mistreating you, yet the law doesn't allow for you to legally separate yourself from them, like permanently emancipate? Like, that is crazy to me, and it feels like ABUSIVE, like people could really use the justice system and divorce court to continue to torture their victims. And I really, really hate that. But one thing I did love for Kelly was that her girls rallied around her. So Shamia came over to her house to check on her, and Angela called her. But unfortunately, the one person that we all thought would be the first one to rush to her side, AKA Brittany, is the one who didn't even bother to call her. And that made me really sad for Kelly, because again, Kelly has always done so much for Britt, right? And so Phaedra, she's doing her big fashion show and everything. Kelly, she hosts a cook-off with Angela's husband, Charles, which leads to a lot of drama, right? And so you would think Brittany would go there to support her bestie, but she doesn't show up for that either. Instead, she invites Phaedra and Cynthia over for like a gossip session. Does anybody have any like intel on who this man was? He was so damn thirsty. Truly thirsty to get some camera time at the expense of Angela. Like, at first, he wanted to make himself seem like someone who cared. Like, I want to pull you aside, Angela, when you can, because I want to tell you something about your husband. Okay. And then later on, he proposed her cheers in front of everybody. And he said, cheers to Angela, whose husband is cheating on her. It was giving messy bottom. Like, you want for her husband to be cheating with you or something. You want a piece of her husband. Like, that was such ugly, disgusting, despicable behavior. Like, the lengths that people will go for a little bit of camera time is a little sickening, right? Like, these are real people. These are their real lives. So to go and do that, to humiliate somebody like that, somebody that you don't know, that you've never met. And if her husband is cheating on her, she is a victim, right? So why treat her like that? Why humiliate her like that? What did she do to you that would make you treat her like you hate her, like you loathe her? I don't get it. If anything, go and drag her husband, but her to call her out like that was so gross. It really was. I'm still at a loss for words over it. Listen, a lot of people in the comment section of that video have been saying that it was a scheme that Phaedra set up to come to Angela with the BS. And I want to know what y'all think about that. Listen, Phaedra is known for being very messy and for hiding her hands and getting other people to do her dirty work. So I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, I hate to claim her as a fellow Scorpio, but she is a Scorpio after all. Farah says, those pants were so cute. I want a pair. Weren't they? Like, the fact that he sewed that was absolutely incredible. The pockets and everything, like, he really crushed it. And he has a bright future ahead of him. Gail says, if you don't mind me asking, Grace, where did you go? So we started off in Barcelona, then we went hiking in Montserrat, and then we went to Mallorca, which was my favorite part of the whole vacation. I started looking around to see how I could move to Mallorca, y'all. Like, it was love at first sight for me. And where else did we go? Then after that, we went to Ireland. Listen, the weather in Ireland, trash, but the Irish people, and thank you, by the way, Gail, for asking, because I wanted to tell you guys, Irish women, my friend and I were saying, oh my God, Irish girls are such underrated beauties. You know, whenever people like get asked in these street interviews or whatever, like, what country do you think has the most beautiful women, blah, blah, blah. And there's always like the usual suspects on these lists. Irish girls don't come up often enough. Like, there were so many certified baddies, and y'all know I love red hair, right? And so my friend does as well. And so we were in redhead heaven in Ireland. The people were beautiful, not just like outside, but inside as well. They were so kind. I've got so many stories to share with you guys. Just such beautiful people. They brought the sunshine to kind of like a gloomy city, so to speak. Like he says, didn't research come out stating the gender of the baby? Exactly. It's the man who determines it, you know? So I think that at this point, maybe what they're going to do when inserting these embryos in the surrogates is you can select, right? So that I think, and they've got the money for it, opt for gender selection and go that way. But unfortunately, things just aren't taking. I don't know if they've done genetic testing to see like if their genes mix well together or not. Because this is, I don't know how many miscarriages or whatever this is, but this is a couple. And then on top of that, their second daughter has issues as well. So they might need to do some genetic testing to see if it is a good idea for them to continue to try in the first place. And I'm really nervous for them on that. Very, very scary stuff. Nikki, yeah, I do kind of go for the theory that Phaedra had something to do with it. I wouldn't be surprised. And after all the backlashes she got for like Dungeon Gate, like she's trying to keep her hands clean this time around. So I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. What about you and everybody else in the chat? Who do you think was responsible for that messy man humiliating Angela like that? Angela doesn't like go out of her way to be malicious to people. Like, she didn't deserve that at all. No woman who's being cheated on by her husband deserves that at all. That was a very, very disgusting interaction. And that man should be ashamed of himself. Truly, 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 truly. And Petty LaBelle, you're going to love it if you, when you watch. It's really, really good. And Nadia, listen, the producers love mess. They don't care who they're hurting so long as they're getting their mess. You know, mess is what makes them the money. So yeah, that was a no-brainer for them. And so it makes you wonder who tipped them off then. Phaedra, sorry, Phaedra. And I know, Amelia, listen, Scorpios aren't having the best PR lately. It's really, really bad. Nicole says, I'm so glad that you enjoyed your vacation, but I'm sure, yes, and I'm so happy to be back too. Honestly, it's a double-edged sword. It's nice to get away, but, you know, it's also hard to get away, you know, from the perspective of our routine. You know, I love our routine that we have together. Yes, Nadia, there are so many redheads over there. We were in heaven. The most beautiful different shades of red you've ever seen in your life. Just beautiful, beautiful. Ireland is beautiful. You would love it. And when we did the Houth Falls walking trail, Houth Cliffs, stunning as well. All My Business says, I love a redhead, especially with blue eyes, period. Listen, justice for redheads. They don't get enough love. Y'all are so beautiful. Nadia said, I don't know. I thought maybe Angela herself. You think Angela did this to herself? That would be insane if she did do it and she got exposed for that. That would be so embarrassing. I cannot imagine. Now, we start to get a little bit of information as to what was going on behind the scenes in Kelly and Britney's beef. So Britney claims that the reason why Kelly is being cold with her is because they share some sort of stylist team or whatever. And Kelly started getting jealous, according to Brittany, that the stylists are making Brittany look better than they make her look. And so she wants them to stop working with her, this sort of thing. And then she also tells Portia and Cynthia that Shamia has been talking crap about Portia, which is weird. Like she's trying to dig a wedge in that. And Portia very expertly shut it down. She said, "No, you guys are not going to do this to me again. You tried it one time. Shamia and I made up. We're not doing this again." So I thought that was a really, really good thing. You know, Portia essentially told her, worry about your relationship with Kelly. Leave me and Shamia's relationship alone. And I love that. Listen, sometimes you gotta break it down like that, because misery loves company. If someone's not having a good time in their friendship or their romantic relationship or whatever, they might try and cause, sow seeds of doubt or discord in yours. So you gotta keep an eye open and shut that sort of thing down. And I think that's what Shamia should have been doing when it came to her friendship with Portia. Shamia loves playing victim, but we saw her throughout the whole first half of this season play into all of these conversations about Portia and just talk about her behind her back. And that's why all these people are exposing her, right? So there's that. And Kelly says that from her own perspective about why she's beefing with Brittany is because Brittany is desperate to work with everybody she's working with, including her photographers and videographers, and it's just too much. And listen, I get it. Sometimes, in friendships, like, you exchange contacts or, someone inspires this or that in the other person or whatever. But when it gets to the point where someone always wants to have the same things you do or do the same things you do, that's when it gets weird and annoying and uncomfortable. So if that is what is happening, then I totally get why Kelly feels the way that she does. So, Amy, nice to see you, boo. No worries at all. It is so nice to have you here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All my business can't stand Angela. Damn, how come? What did she do to you? I love Angela. And did you see her on Watch What Happens Live last night? Andy was praising her like crazy. Nikki says it's Kelly. It's Kelly's team, and Britt is trying to steal them from Kelly, giving obsessed. Right. And by the way, after she said that stuff about Shamia got online and she said none of it is true. Because Brittany had also claimed that Shamia started using some of Kelly's glam team, and Shamia says that's not true. She's never worked with Kelly's glam team a day in her life. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess Britt is just a liar then. Listen, when Brittany said she can't get along with any not even her sisters, I immediately clocked that there's something wrong with her. I get it if you don't always get along with everybody, but if you do not have a single female friend and you don't get along with your sisters, it's you, babes. It's you. I'm sorry, but it's you. Hey, Shem, nice to see you. This is my first official report back from vacation, and it was incredible. Thank you so, so much. We had the best time ever, truly. All my business says, oh, those 50-cent Barcelona avocados. Y'all, can you believe that? 50-cent avocados in Barcelona. And I only paid like €5 for a kilo of cherries. Mind you, here in Paris, an avocado is like €2, and a kilo of cherries is like €15. What am I doing? Great question. Wondering the same thing, because what the hell? Although I would never live in Barcelona, though. Sorry to the Barcelona lovers or people who live in Barcelona, but I really don't like that city. I only went because my friend needed to go there because she came from Canada, and that was the easiest jump off to get into Mallorca. But I don't like Barcelona. I'm sorry, Barcelona. I don't like you. Now, why don't we get to... So, by the way, when this guy tried to humiliate Angela at the party, Kelly immediately threw him out. And that's one thing about Kelly. She is a true girl's girl. She kind of reminds me of Candy in that instance, right? Candy doesn't backstab people. She wants everybody around her to come up, to win. She'll always hand out opportunities and ride for people who are not being treated fairly. And I feel that way about Kelly, and that's why I really, really like her. She immediately got her security to throw that man out, as she should have. So that was really nice. And then things turned to a very sad, somber moment when Portia has to call Phaedra to let her know that she's not going to be attending her fashion showcase because her cousin Londi passed away. My jaw was on the floor. I had to go online and look up when this happened. When was this announced? Like, how did I miss? I had no idea. And y'all know I watched Portia's Family Matters, right? That's something I used to recap with Tisha Tells, Up and Adam, and Layla Lynn as well. Like, we recapped every episode of that show. we loved Londi. She seemed like such a sweet, like she seemed like so shy and, you know, a little insecure in certain respects, but like overall, like a really warm, loving person. And Portia came across as a monster in that show. Like she, you know, she made you want to save her from her big bad, you know, cousin or whatever, right? And she was so young. She was only like 34 or something like that. So hearing that she passed away, shocking. Truly, truly shocking. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to Portia and her family. And you know, I really hope that she is resting in peace. It's just oof. I cannot believe that. Wow. I was really, really stunned by that news. It blindsided me completely, completely. Nikki says, I thought it was weird that Portia didn't call Shamia about it. Oh, so is that why Shamia was crying at the end of the episode? That was the first time that she was finding out? Because I thought she already knew. And she was just crying because she's emotional because she's close to Portia and her family, right? Because they grew up together. Is that it? Oh my, that's really scary if she didn't call her own bestie about that. But you know what I would think happened? I would think that maybe because you had Brittany over there bringing up Shamia again, right? And saying, oh, Shamia's saying this, that, and the other about you behind the scenes or whatever. Maybe that's why Portia was like, oh, like there she goes being a fake friend again. I'm not telling her anything about me and my family. But either way, yikes, yikes, yikes. Not a good sign. Honestly, I don't see it for this friendship. They're still acting like they're close and everything, but I don't see it for them. Sorry, not sorry. And yes, she really was. And she was so instrumental. Like she did a lot of stuff. She had some sort of an event planning business. So a lot of the events that you saw Portia throwing or like organizing and things like that, they were run by Londi and her company. And so I'm sad about that. She seemed like a really sweet, sweet person. So I'm really, really sad about that. All my business says, it's me, Stephanie. I changed my, hang on, Stephanie. Let me zoom in then. Because I'm like, Stephanie. Steph, I didn't even recognize you. You know who I thought you looked like in this photo? Shira 7. You look like Shira 7 in this photo. I really love it, by the way. You look good. You look the F good. And that is your color. That is like your ideal color palette. I'm like, I feel like I know this person. Steph, thank you. Oh my God. I'm like, who is it? Oh, wow. Gail says, I have Irish in me and German. Ooh, quite the mixture, Gail. Are you redhead as well? Chandler says, nothing real. Yeah, nothing is real in reality TV anymore. It's so sad. And I agree. You know, sometimes it's like to a level where they'll have you thinking the worst about people just for a storyline or just for entertainment. And that's when I really don't like things, right? Like other things that are inconsequential, whatever. But like messing with people's reputation and stuff, especially when it comes to the dead, yikes. So now, by the way, when it's time for Phaedra's like big showcase or whatever, Drew arrives late. And so Phaedra locks her out, which is so classic Housewives. And Drew is just so cute and positive about how she's trying to like ride it out there on the balcony with everybody. Like, hey, look, you look good. I like your shoes. Hey, is that a chicken wing? Can I have one? Like, she's just such a funny person. She almost reminded me of Stacy in RHOP when they put her in the bunk beds and she kind of just played it off. I love people like that who can roll with the punches. And so when it's time for things to really face off between Kelly and Brittany, like, Brittany shows up and she says hi to everybody, including Kelly. And Kelly flat out ignores her, does not respond at all. So she keeps saying hello. Kelly keeps ignoring. And then that's when things really get ugly. And you've got Kelly referring to Brittany's husband as a pill popping roommate. I'm sorry, but I believe every word of it. I don't believe that man is attracted to her. I don't think that man does her. And I think that man is on something, allegedly, right? Like he's always just seems so out of it. Like he doesn't even know where he is. And like they were really close. So I think that this is something that Brittany would have confided in Kelly at a certain point, that her husband allegedly had some sort of substance abuse issue and that her husband doesn't get intimate with her, because I believe every word of it. And then in response, you've got Brittany who then yells about Kelly's abortions. And I don't get it because Kelly already has like 1 million kids, right? So who cares if, you know, at a different point in her life or whatever, she wasn't ready to have children. Like, now what? You know, like, now what, right? I didn't get it. And then, but I did find that to be ugly. That's not something that you yell about somebody across a room at a party, right? And it has nothing to do with anything. Who cares, right? And then in response, Kelly says something of her own, which is really ugly too and really cruel, which is, well, at least I can have kids. You can't have kids. You will never be me. Look at the way everybody's faces look. They were just floored by this. This was so ugly, so cruel. Like, look at the guy in the back who had to turn around. Like, what did I just hear? Shocking. Truly, truly shocking. I hate that this beautiful friendship took a turn for the worse. And I feel like even if a friendship just is no longer serving you or making you happy or contributing to your life, like, you let it go and you move on. You don't have to like bring out this level of like bazookas, right? Like, this is very ugly. Like I said, this was reminiscent of the Shaws of Sunset when Reza yelled about MJ's alleged abortions and whatnot. And I don't like when things get to that level. Like, it makes you uncomfortable. It makes you like kind of break out into a cold sweat. Like, oh, like, no, that's not good. I can't believe you said that. Not a fan at all. I think both girls should apologize to each other. And I get that Kelly was only clapping back, but it still was a very ugly thing to say to your former friend or to anybody, like, I think it's cruel to taunt somebody about, their infertility. That's not okay. It sucks that she talked about your abortions and whatnot, but I wouldn't have taken things to that level personally. But what do you guys think? Gail says, both my mom and dad and my, oh, wow, you guys have so much German in your family. I wish I knew a little word to share with you there. Don't have red hair. I also have German. Oh, that's so cool, Gail. So cool to have such a diverse background. YouTube Addict says, good morning, Grace. Love from Las Vegas. Good morning, YouTube Addict. Nice to see you. And Ali and Patty LaBelle, you guys say the same thing, right? Like, it was a very like, yikes, like just very tense, uncomfortable, and inappropriate moment from the two girls. As you guys already are aware, Brittany's not going to be returning for another season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I do think that Kelly is most likely going to come back. So I wonder how they're going to address this at the reunion. Actually, they don't have to, because guess what? Brittany didn't even show up to the reunion. Never mind. What a quitter, right? Chandler says, why wouldn't Kelly want her team to have more business, though? I don't get it. I think what was making her uncomfortable, like maybe she didn't mind at first for like a stylist or something, but then it just became, oh, then I need your this. I need your that. I need your this. I feel like that's where it gets annoying. And I got to be honest, because I have had certain experiences with friends where they always want something that you have or that you're doing or whatever. And like, I don't mind, helping people with this or that. But when someone wants exactly everything, it's almost like, are you going to skin me alive? Like, next, like, please, this is too much. I don't know. Like, I do think at a certain point it gets uncomfortable and weird, So I think that that's what happened. But at the same time, don't forget that Brittany was exposed as lying. Brittany said that Shamia was also using Kelly's styling team, but that wasn't true. Shamia said that never happened. So I really don't know. Shem, I really want to watch it. And I used to love watching this when it was available on Hayu. However, they moved it to this different platform. I don't even know what platform it's on, Peacock or something. And now I don't have it because I already have like 4 different platforms. I don't want to get another one. It's too many platforms. But I've been watching the clips over on the TikTok, the Clock app, and it looks like a really good season. I saw that one guy who had never been on a plane before, never been to the beach, like people were really sad that they like eliminated him so quickly. And I saw that he very quickly gained like 1 million followers and everything. So that was a really like touching story to follow as well. Who are you rooting for so far? There's this one girl who's absolutely stunning, cheekbones for days. I forgot her name, but yeah, there's this guy who's always trying to make out with her apparently, and she's really beautiful. Ali says it was a very, 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 very ugly indeed. I really hate that things went to that level. I don't think it was necessary to get to that level. And that's the thing with like physical violence and whatnot, right? Like whenever people get like physically violent, people say, oh, it's so terrible. Like, how could they do that? I'm like, sometimes like the words that people throw out there are even worse than violence. To me, throwing these kinds of words out there, like are worse than violence, like taunting someone about being allegedly barren, taunting someone about their abortions or alleged abortion, like that's in front of a bunch of random people on TV. Like, whoa, that's a lot. That's a lot, Hey, Star. Nice to see you. You know who I finally I think I told you when you were on like video with me, Star, the last time that you like reminded me of somebody. I don't remember who I told you reminded me of, but now I have another person. And I know you're gonna laugh because you told me that like people always say that you look like people. You look like this girl. I'm gonna find her name later for tomorrow's episode of the Morning Report and let you know. There's this like girl who is Irish. She's a Black Irish girl, and she lives in Barcelona now. And she does content about that and how she learned Spanish and whatnot. To me, you look exactly like her. You know what? Hang on. Because I might forget, you know. I don't know if this is like ADD brain or what, but hang on. Black Irish girl living in Barcelona, because I want you to know who she is. She's so cute. I think you look like her. Hang on. What is her name? I see her all the time on this. I think her name starts with here it is. Her name is Feti Ade, Fetiade on TikTok. Every time you pop up, I'm like, oh my God, is this her? You look just like her. So super cute. I finally got you another lookalike. Not that you needed more, but there you go. Shem says that I think that's the girl that I'm thinking of. Does she have those big, beautiful cheekbones, and she's got like the boho braids or goddess braids or something like that? And like, she's just super beautiful. And there's this guy always trying to make out with her. And yes, you do look like Simone Biles too, but I got you another one. Sorry. Ronnie says, I haven't watched a new season of Love Island because I haven't had time. Listen, it's so hard to keep up with everything. Like, oh my goodness gracious, truly, right? But it looks so good. I just can't keep up with the platforms personally. Ali says, did anyone else peep Hannah licking them fingers? No. What fingers? I heard somebody was running around making out with everybody with a cold sore though on that show, and that kind of scared me. But some people say it wasn't a cold sore and that like someone had bit him and it like bruised. I don't know what the truth is, but I'm scared. Nadia says Britt went too far. Yup, talking about Kelly's personal situations. Yep, exactly. That wasn't cool, and it adds nothing. Again, Kelly has like a million kids. Like, now what? Now what? Right? Morning says only half the people. Yes, you guys, if you're enjoying today's episode of the Morning Report, please do not hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. Thank you so much to you, Ronnie. Thank you so much to everybody who's reminding everybody. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Kaylin. Everybody who's been reminding people to go ahead and like this video. Ali says Hannah was getting it in with Pippi. Yeah. Oh, she freaky. Okay, girl. Let your freak flag fly. God bless the people who can do this on television. Oh my God. Yeah, the idea of it just makes me so nervous. Like, God bless them. My God. Anyway, you guys, that does it. A recap of, not a recap. Look, I'm getting rusty. Hang on. How do I usually close these things out? That does it, you guys. A recap of today's hottest stories. What do I usually say? I'm going to have to go back and watch my old episodes. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Morning Report. Per usual, I had the best time chatting with y'all, and I'm looking forward to more discussions tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, you guys. And channel members, I've got some videos coming up for you very soon, later on today, okay? Take care, you guys. Bye.